Welcome to this fourth session of Faith Groups, fourth Sunday in Lent. As we explained during the homily, we've been reading Gospels that represented events, the temptations, the transfiguration, the cleansing of the temple, and now we are presented with a different Gospel. It really in its origin a dialogue between Nicodemus, this fascinating character, and Jesus. And the part we catch for the Gospel today, it's only Jesus talking. A highly theological gospel, as we expect from John's gospel. You see, I believe what the church is doing with this reading today is to prepare us for the last few 2 weeks, 14 days before we start Holy Week and we end Lent. And the idea, I believe, is to focus on the cross. This comparison right away with this serpent of Moses in the Old Testament, actually in Numbers 21 verse 4, I think it begins. The people of Israel were complaining in the desert against Moses, so God sends snakes to bite the people, but then Moses is instructed to lift up this bronze serpent. So the cross is a similar analogy in which Jesus is going to be lifted up, as he says. And that's why one of the questions we have today, because the gospel says very clearly that God didn't do this, send Jesus and allow Jesus to die on the cross out of condemnation, but because of his saving will. So that's one of the questions today. That can be very theoretical, to say that the cross saves us, yes, but how? And this cross that represents suffering, which represents the ultimate act of generosity, giving up. Jesus gives up his life for his disciples of then and his disciples of now and for all humanity. How does it work in your own life? How do you think that the cross saves you? Then we went in the homily into this worldview of John's gospel, that light and dark, truth and deceit, good and bad, very, very polarized. And we said that we know that life happens many times in the middle ground, in the gray, more than in the extremes of black and white. But at the same time, there are things in life that are a matter of a radical choice, where there is no middle ground. Do we believe in Jesus or we don't? Do we care for others or we don't? But I'm one of the questions we are proposing today is about what are these things in your life? What's unnegotiables? Things that really are black and white. Either you take it or you leave it. We believe that may help us. You know, in the gospel, the dialogue is with Nicodemus, and I think he's an example of, it's an interesting event in the gospel that we get the name of the person Jesus is meeting with. And Nicodemus was a ruler of the Jews, a member of the Sanhedrin, which is the body, the legal body that will eventually condemn him. So it's but he's also at the end at the cross. He's the one taking Jesus down from the cross. So it's interesting to see this character that seemed to have some affinity to Jesus, a curiosity, but at the same time it wasn't enough to keep Jesus from the cross. So I think it's an illustration of areas in life where we really cannot be lukewarm, that we really need to make stronger choices. And I think maybe that's a good reflection for our lives as well. What areas, what situations in our life we cannot really play the middle ground, the conciliatory middle, and we need to really be more radical in our choices and in our behaviors. Just there as a question to present it to you. Lent, again, is a preparation for Holy Week. Today we are focusing, I believe, in the cross. Next week is also a very interesting gospel. These disciples of John will come to Jesus and show us who you are. But in today's gospel, Jesus is the Jesus of the cross. And this bringing light into the world. Jesus brings light into the world. So in imitating Jesus, when are we bringing light into the world? That's another question that we have for you today. We hope these questions help. This wasn't the easiest gospel to reflect on, neither for the homily nor for faith groups, because it's highly theological. But it's something that we need to do as well. Theology, this knowledge of God. What do we learn from God in during this Lent and through this gospel that we have proclaimed today. So I hope the discussion goes well, that you find examples, and remember, these questions are just there to help. What we want is to generate dialogue, hopefully spiritual, focused, deep dialogue among those who do the activity together. So thank you, and see you next week. Bye.